closer look at Nigeria since independence. Now that Nigeria is 64, we reflect on the journey of a country filled with triumphs and struggles. The bright green and white flag raised in 1960 still carries the hopes of a whole nation, hopes that in many ways are still waiting to be fulfilled. Welcome back to NaijaNews TV as we take a closer look at Nigeria since independence. The future looked bright when Nigeria became independent from the British rule in 1960. Many Nigerians in 1960s would think Nigeria's independence is the real freedom. The country was rich in natural resources and full of potential. People believed Nigeria would soon become great and prosperous. Leaders like Nnamdi Azikiwe, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, and Obafemi Awolowo had big plans for a united country where different groups would work together for the common good. However, the path to success proved much more challenging than anyone expected. Soon after independence, tensions between different regions and ethnic groups began to surface. In 1966, just 6 years after becoming free, Nigeria experienced its first military takeover of the government. This event marked the beginning of a difficult period in the country's history. From 1967 to 1970, Nigeria faced a devastating civil war. The southeastern region tried to break away and form a new country called Biafra. The war lasted 3 painful years and left deep scars on Nigeria's national identity. The image of starving children shocked the world, and the effect of this conflict would shape Nigeria's future for decades. After the war, Nigeria tried to rebuild under the leadership of General Yakubu Gowon. Then, in 1970s, something happened that seemed like a stroke of luck. Nigeria discovered it had large amounts of oil. This oil boom brought sudden wealth to the country. Tall buildings increased in Lagos, and big projects were started all over Nigeria. It looked like the country was on its way to becoming an economic powerhouse. But this new wealth turned out to be a mixed blessing. Instead of bringing prosperity to everyone, it led to widespread corruption and mismanagement. How did having so much oil end up causing hardship for most Nigerians instead of making their lives better? Over the years, Nigeria has gone back and forth between military rule and civilian government. In 1993, there was a presidential election that many people thought was free and fair. Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola was expected to win. However, the military government cancelled the results, throwing the country into crisis. Many Nigerians still wonder how things might have been different if that election had been allowed to stand. Today, in 2024, life in Nigeria differs from what people hoped for in 1960. Many university graduates can't find jobs, and dreams nurtured in school often crash against the realities of a struggling economy. The gap between rich and poor has grown wider, and basic necessities are becoming luxuries for many families. The value of Nigeria's currency, the naira, keeps changing, making life unpredictable for ordinary people. As food prices go up, many families find it hard to put meals on their table. These challenges have led many Nigerians to leave the country, looking for better opportunities in Europe and other parts of the world. But this brain drain comes with its own risk and uncertainties, which can make it harder for Nigeria to develop. Corruption remains a big problem. Too often, public money meant for development ends up in private pockets. This leaves regular citizens wondering what hope there is for their children's future. The current situation is far from what Nigeria's founding fathers imagined. They dreamed of a country united in purpose, where everyone's needs were considered important. Today's political landscape often focused on personal gain, and short-term thinking seems very different from those original ideals. Despite these challenges, The spirit of Nigeria remains strong. There's a fire in the heart of its people, a deep love for their country, and a belief that things can get better. This resilience has helped Nigeria through its darkest times and might be its greatest strength. There are some positive developments too. Nigeria has seen growth in the areas like telecommunications and entertainment. Nollywood, Nigeria's film industry, has become the second largest in the world, showing Nigerian creativity to global audiences. However, problems like environmental damage in the Niger Delta, conflicts between different groups, and the threat of extremist organizations like Boko Haram, unknown gunmen, and bandits continue to test the country's unity. It is important to recognize that some people in government are trying to make things better, even if the results aren't always what people hope for. But for the average Nigerian, each day brings its own set of challenges, from unreliable power supply to inadequate healthcare, from poor road networks to struggling educational institutions. Looking back on 64 years of independence, it is clear that many of the hopes of 1960 haven't been realized yet. The people who fought for freedom probably never imagined that their grandchildren would still be dealing with many of the same issues. Nigeria's abundance of natural resources and talented people stands in sharp contrast to the poverty and lack of development in much of the country. It's a puzzle that shows how complex Nigeria's challenges are. A nation with so much wealth, yet so many people in need. As we stand here in 2024, the difference between Nigeria in 1960 and today is clear. The dreams of independence have been passed down like a bittersweet inheritance from one generation to the next. But there is also a growing understanding that real change can only come when all Nigerians work together. The story of Nigeria isn't over. Every day, Nigerians are working to build a better country. They believe that if everyone joins hands and leaders make wise decisions, Nigeria can still become the great nation it was meant to be. It won't be easy, but Nigerians have shown they don't give up easily. With hard work, unity, and hope, Nigeria can write a new chapter in its history, only where the dreams of 1960 finally becomes reality.